Good morning and welcome back to St. Anselm's Abbey's interview series. I'm very glad to have Father Samuel here with us today, and he's going to tell us about the upcoming trip to Rome, which is very interesting, somewhat unusual, and I look forward to hearing about all the details of that trip. Good morning, Father Samuel. Are you all ready for the trip, all packed?
Not packed yet. I still have to. It's one of those where I've purposely put off doing laundry until the very last minute so that I have as much clean clothes going over with me as possible.
Smart choice. Yeah, very exciting. Well, before we talk about the trip, let us just shortly reflect on your, I guess, fairly recent role as a Novice Master. When were you appointed to the position?
I was appointed to be Novice Master. I guess it's now it's almost 2.5, 3 years ago. It was just after the last visitation. So when was that? That was in 2020, if I remember correctly. So yeah, somewhere around summer of 2020.
Mm-hmm. And does that involve any standard training, or does every person who gets appointed, or every monk who gets appointed as a Novice Master gets to do that international training that you're about to do?
There's no standard training for it. Not even the program that I'm going on is any kind of standard for that. Every community and individual appointed to be appointed to be Novice Master kind of decides what's needed in terms of training. I definitely wanted something. I've never done anything like it before, so yeah. I was definitely looking for something, and this program we have sent members of the community on this program before. I'm trying to remember who was the last one that went on it. I think it might have been Father Boniface that went on it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, but and it's organized by a member of the congregation from one of the houses over in England. So we knew about it. We knew a lot about it, and so the abbot, when he decided to appoint me as Novice Master, was very much in favor of me going on this program to get some training on how to do this job.
Yeah. That's excellent. And how long is that appointment actually? So once you're selected or appointed as a Novice Master, for how long would you hold that position?
At the abbot's discretion.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Good. Well, then let's jump right into it. So you're heading to not only Rome, actually, you're starting with Rome. I think you're also going to Assisi at some point.
Yes.
And a couple other places I'm sure you'll be happy to share with us. So this is a worldwide Benedictine program for training the Novice Masters and Mistresses.
Well, it's for training individuals involved in monastic formation. Mm-hmm. Now, the primary people involved in monastic formation would be the Novice Masters and Mistresses, but it might also include junior masters and mistresses and their possible assistants in both for either one. Depending on the size of the community and the number of novices or juniors that they might have at any given time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, most of the people who are there will be Novice Masters and Mistresses, but it's probably not going to be exclusively them.
And I presume the program is being led in English?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the program is being conducted in English, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you happen to know anyone else who is going along with you?
I have looked at the list. There are 4 or 5 names on the list that I recognize there as being other Novice Masters and Mistresses from our congregation who I've talked to via Zoom only at this point, thanks to the pandemic, but I have talked to them before. So I will know some people, but there's also people on that list. There are more people on that list who I have never met them before.
Yeah. How exciting. So can you lead us a little bit through the program? Tell us a bit about your daily routine, the intensity of it, maybe also the purpose behind it. Is it going to be mostly focused towards absorbing information, or is it also going through some experiences that are in some ways then helping you to understand better that position of leadership as a novice master?
Well, I'll be honest. They haven't given me a huge amount of details on what's going to happen, so I couldn't tell you most of it. I can tell you that the general program, the general daily schedule calls for us to have 2 or 3 sessions of 2 or 3 classes in the morning and another 2 or 3 in the afternoon, with breaks in between. We've gotten emails that have indicated who some of the teachers will be for those classes, and they are individuals who are experts within their particular areas of study. Some of the whether it be formation and celibacy, or studying the monastic rule or the rule of Benedict, or other aspects of formation, and even some that are like, I think one of them is almost like a marketing kind of thing. So it's more about how do you share stuff like going outwards. And so we'll have that sort of thing. I know this is one of those, you can't bring 27 Benedictines to Rome and Assisi most of whom have never been there before, without taking them out to see some of the sites.
Oh, sure.
But they haven't given us any details on what outings were going on and where and when. I mean, I can make some educated guesses. We will probably go to Subiaco at some point. We will probably go to Monte Cassino at some point. We will certainly be visiting the Vatican, probably several times. May even go to one of the audiences with the Pope, but whether it'll be a regular public audience or something special, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those where we're going to, since we're going to be in Assisi, we'll probably see the sites there as well.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of that stuff, but I've been given very few details mm-hmm. about how that's actually going to plan out. I'll probably get that during the orientation days when I arrive in Rome next week.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So what about the timeline? So you told us you begin in Rome. How long will you stay there, and where do you head after that?
We're in Rome for the first, I want to say 7 weeks or maybe 8. Okay, and then we will be in Assisi for, I think it's either 4 or 5, before coming back to Rome for basically like the last weekend before we leave, so that everybody's in Rome and in position to, get the COVID testing and all of that sort of stuff that'll be needed to get back on their flights, back on their return flights to wherever they came from.
So we'll be seeing you back here in the end of June or
middle of June.
Middle of June.
Or June 6th. So about a weekend. Not really the middle so much as I suppose you could call that the beginning. But yeah, June 6th will be when I come back. Mm-hmm. The program is 85 days, and it is specifically scheduled to be that long so that those individuals who are coming from visa-exempt countries don't need to get a visa. Mm-hmm. The visa requirements are up to 90 days. So I don't need a visa, and because it's only 85.
Good. So. Great. Well, I know that you are already fully in the role of Novice Master, since we do have a novice here. How will it work out now that you are gone for a couple of months? Will you be still coaching or mentoring your novice via Zoom, or are you just leaving someone as your substitute?
No, I'm not going to be doing anything with Brother Cyprian while I'm gone. I've set it. His schedule has been set up so that he has his classes, which will continue under the monks who are administering those classes. His work schedule will continue under the monk who he's working with in the afternoons, and Father Michael will be the one who's kind of just overseeing everything and making sure it continues. Things continue to go smoothly, and checking in with Brother Cyprian on a regular basis to make sure that he's dealing with whatever's going on all right. But yeah, no, I'll be in Rome, not having to worry about anything myself.
Yeah.
Hopefully I've set everything up on autopilot well enough that it won't be anything major to deal with while I'm gone.
So I presume you'll both be studying really intensely these couple of months, and then you'll reunite back in your constellation of you being the Novice Master and Brother Cyprian being under your mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Now, in my understanding, Father Samuel, when you were a novice yourself, you lived in this building, in the old building of St. Anselm's. Then
no, actually I did not.
Oh, you did not?
No.
Okay.
I moved straight into the Philip Johnson building. We didn't have any separation. Then all three novices that joined at the same time moved straight into the Philip Johnson building with the rest of the community. There was no separation at the time.
I see. So it is something new for you to actually now live in the novitiate wing.
Yes. That was something that basically the community, upon reflection of how my novitiate had gone with all three of us directly into the community, had felt that didn't quite work out the way they had anticipated. We had been the first novices in quite a number of years, and so we just kind of moved straight in. And they said, no, we need to really have some separation. And so when Philip at the time started looking at, started applying, the community, the abbot and the council kind of looked at how do we create some separation. What rooms can we dedicate to creating a somewhat separate novitiate, so that Philip would not be brought into the community all at once, but in a more phased fashion.
Mm-hmm. And who was your novice master back then?
Father Christopher was a novice master back then.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm. So are some of the classes that you're teaching on to Brother Cyprian, do they have some correspondence with what you were taught back then from Father Christopher, or did you come up with your own syllabus, so to say?
I came up kind of with my own syllabus.
Okay.
Some of the classes that Cyprian is... Father Christopher didn't teach all of the classes, just like I don't teach all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of them are the same, but those tend to be the ones that are by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same person teaching them again. So Father Abbott does the rule and the constitutions and the customary and stuff. And so he's doing that again with Cyprian. Father Boniface will be teaching some courses on monastic spirituality, and which he did for me. He did for me and my fellow novices, and he's going to again do that for Cyprian. Father Michael did some courses on monastic history for me. He's doing that again for Brother Cyprian. So the ones that are the same are the same because they're being taught by the same person again. But for myself, no, I came up with my own program, so to speak.
Well done. Now I have another question for you, and perhaps you'll help me to clarify or understand it. So the relationship between a novice master and a novice, is it somewhat in parallels with a spiritual direction, or to what extent does that responsibility or guidance, how long does it take? How long ahead in the future will you be taking the responsibility of your novice? Is it until the graduation, or is it a lifetime sort of commitment?
No, it's only while they're a novice. They will move. So the way things work in the English Benedictine congregation, a novice, a monk, the novice in the novitiate period is from the time they are clothed as a novice through 1 year after their after their temporary profession. So you have temporary profession right in the middle. The canonical novitiate that fulfills the canon law requirements is that first year, and then that second year is time for some additional formation as a novice under the novice master. Then they pass to the responsibility of the junior master, who oversees the last 2 years of their temporary profession, and then they are formally professed. Then, assuming there's no extensions to that period, they are formally professed into the community as a full-fledged member, and then they fall directly under the abbot, just like any other member of the community at that point. What was the rest of the question?
Yeah, the question was just for how long is the novice master guiding, spiritually also guiding or looking over the novice?
Mm-hmm. In regards to what's the relationship like, it's kind of like spiritual direction, but not really. The novice is actually required to have a separate spiritual director, because spiritual direction is specifically dealing with the internal forum. And so what the novice says to his spiritual director is private to that relationship. Not quite seal of the confessional, but that sort of, we don't pry into that sort of thing. The novice master has responsibilities both to the novice and to the community. And so cannot deal in the internal forum. It has to deal with the external forum. And so it's my job as a novice master to be in dialogue with the novice about how they are adapting to monastic life, providing guidance, correction, encouragement, that sort of thing, but also then reporting back to the community in the form of the abbot and his council initially, but eventually to the community as a whole, as to how the novice seems to be doing. How are they doing? How are they adapting? What are their difficulties? Are they working to overcome them? Are they being resistant? Whatever's going on, I have to be able to go back to the community, to the abbot, to the council, and tell them what's going on, so that when it comes time for decisions to be made about whether or not to grant perseverance during the course of the novitiate year, whether or not to accept for temporary vows, and eventually whether or not to accept for final vows, even though the novice master's job is long since over by the time that comes around, but still the information the novice master has provided informs the community when it comes time to make those decisions. And so the novice master can't be bound by confidentiality the way a spiritual director can be. And so it's not quite a spiritual direction kind of relationship, but it is one where, there's a lot of one-on-one individual discussion meetings with the novice, much like you would expect to have with a spiritual director. And we touch about how's their spiritual life going, how's their reading going, and stuff like that. But it's also broader in terms of just how is their life as a potential monk going.
Well, sounds like a very complex mechanism, but I'm sure with a PhD in physics, you'll be able to solve it all. And I wish you a beautiful and really enriching journey. And I look forward to hearing some of those pearls of wisdom that you'll be able to share with us post that trip. So thank you so much for taking time, and buon viaggio.